Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has traveled to an eastern city near the front line as two more strategic sites inside Russia have reportedly been hit by drone strikes. Though Ukraine hasn't claimed responsibility, a fire blamed on a drone attack broke out at an airport in Russia's southern Kursk region that borders Ukraine, the region's governor said today. In a second incident, an industrial plant was also targeted by drones, Russian independent media reported. A day earlier, Moscow blamed Kiev for drone strikes on two air bases deep inside Russia. The unprecedented attacks threaten a major escalation of the 9-month war. Russia responded with another wave of missile strikes on Ukrainian territory that wiped out power across the country just as United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk was in Kiev.
I was on the point of meeting human rights defenders on my second day in Kiev. And I had to move this meeting down here to this shelter. You see UN colleagues behind me who are here with me because air sirens went off. And as we were having this discussion here in the shelter, there was a wave of missile attacks against Ukraine, including some of them ending up in the proximity of Kyiv. You can imagine what this means for the population. It has become almost a new normal, but it has a huge impact on civilians, and it has to stop.
Meanwhile, Ukraine is reporting bloody packages with animal eyes. Inside them have been sent to 17 of its embassies across Europe. One package had a bomb sent to its embassy in Spain. In the U.S., the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is recommending people mask up this holiday season due to an uptick in flu and COVID infections. Pamela Estrada has more.
According to CDC data, COVID-19 hospitalizations were at their highest level in 3 months. More than 35,000 patients are being treated. Meanwhile, more than 20,000 people were hospitalized for the flu over Thanksgiving week. That's almost double the previous week's count. The CDC says children under 5, pregnant women, people with underlying health conditions, and seniors are the most at risk from these diseases. Rochelle P. Walensky is director of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC.
In the past week, we have started to see the unfortunate and expected rise of COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations nationally after the Thanksgiving holiday.
Walensky urged people to get caught up on their vaccinations. The CDC continues to recommend masking for anyone traveling on public transportation. I'm Pamela Estrada.
Georgia voters are deciding the final Senate contest in the country today, choosing whether to re-elect Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock or opt for Republican challenger Herschel Walker. The contest concludes a 4-week runoff blitz that's drawn a flood of outside spending. The outcome will determine whether Democrats have a 51-49 Senate majority or control a 50-50 chamber based on Vice President Kamala Harris's tie-breaking vote. Warnock led Walker by 37,000 votes in last month's general election, but fell shy of a majority, triggering the runoff. Walker is scandal-ridden with allegations he was physical with an ex-girlfriend who caught him cheating, grabbing her neck. In other instances, he allegedly pushed women he had affairs with to get abortions, which the pro-life anti-abortion candidate denies. The Supreme Court's conservative majority is sounding sympathetic to a Christian graphic artist who objects to designing wedding websites for gay couples. In arguments Monday, liberal justices suggested allowing that discrimination could open the door to broader refusals by businesses to serve blacks, Jews, or Islamic customers, interracial couples, and many others. The Colorado case is the latest clash of religion and gay rights to land at the High Court. Christopher Martinez has more.
The case from Colorado concerns Laurie Smith, an evangelical Christian website designer who only designs wedding web pages for heterosexual couples.
Colorado may not force Ms. Smith to create and speak messages.
Kristen Wagner is senior counsel with the group Alliance Defending Freedom, representing Smith and her firm 303 Creative. Wagner says Colorado's law barring discrimination in public accommodations violates Smith's First Amendment rights.
The line is that no one on any side of any debate has to be compelled to express a message that violates their core convictions.
Colorado Solicitor General Eric Olson argued the case for the defendant, saying the plaintiff's argument is too sweeping.
Granting such a license to discriminate, to refuse service to customers because of their disability, sexual orientation, religion, or race.
For the more conservative justices, the key issue seems to be protecting the rights of someone they believe would be forced to express a certain message. For the liberal minority, the case is more about freedom from discrimination, with free speech being used as a tool to get out from anti-discrimination laws. Which theory prevails will become clearer by summer, with the ruling expected by July. Depending on how the majority rules, it could well affect not only LGBTQ rights, but other long-standing precedent barring discrimination. Reporting for Pacifica Radio News KPFA, I'm Christopher Martinez.
President Joe Biden will visit Arizona today and a computer chip plant to emphasize how his policies are fostering growth. I'm Christina Onnested, reporting for Pacifica Radio.